We'll get started. Coach, if you could just open us up with a quick word about the season coming up and particularly going through day one of football camp.
Okay. Well, obviously we're excited to get this thing started. Been anticipating it all summer, coming off of what we thought was a very good spring. Feel like we're a very talented football team, young in some aspects. We only got 10 seniors on our football team at this point, and we got a lot of underclassmen we're counting on this year. But we're probably more talented than we've been in a while, and we obviously had a lot of success on the offensive side of the football last year, and we're expecting to do big things this year. Obviously, the question mark is going to be with our quarterback position. The fact that we lost Side Arias to graduation, and we got two redshirt freshmen looking to fill his position. But we got DeAndre Jenkins back at running back. Got 5 starters back in the offensive line. Got David Reese, who just started and played a lot of games here at tight end for us. Devin McDonald started at wide receiver. Jonathan Wisehite has started at receiver for us. Tanner Hudson has started at receiver for us at one time or another. So we got a lot of returners on the offensive side of the football. We lost with Side and Paul Walker Hall and Aaron Johnson and Z Ware. Those were really the 4 big guys that we lost last year. And but I think we got enough young talent that they're going to be able to step up and fill those shoes for us. Defensive side of the football, last year we struggled on that side of the football. There's no doubt about it, and a big reason why we ended up 5-5. I mean, you lose 3 football games that you led in the fourth quarter. We couldn't hang on, and another one that we were tied in the fourth quarter. So we feel like on that side of the football, it's going to be night and day for us right now. I mean, our defensive line, we're deep, we're talented, we can run. Obviously, we feel like our linebacker position should be in pretty good shape. Dominic, we feel like, could be one of the best linebackers in our league, no question about it. Lee Preston is a redshirt freshman here last year, is a young man that has a lot of talent, still learning on the job. And our secondary, we're deep, and feel very good about our personnel back there. There's some guys we had recruited into the program that have been here either in a redshirt position, and they've grown up, and now it's their time. And we knew when we got them they were talented guys, and it's just for a lot of guys there's a process of growing up, getting ready to play college football, and most guys that's going to be the case. So we were fortunate to have Dominic with us last year, so he's been in the program a year. He's not a transfer junior college player coming in here. First semester here, he's been here a whole year with us, and he had a red shirt for us last year, and now it's his time. So and that's kind of been our motto all summer, coming out of the spring, that we do feel like it's our time right now. Some other teams in our league have, took some big hits to very, very key people in a lot, actually. Harding University lost 9 starters on their offensive side of the football. Wichita lost 9 starters on the offensive side of the football. In Henderson State, we know what they lost: the quarterback and the receiver, and that was enough. So they've been a nemesis to us for 3 years in a row, and glad to see them gone. And they had great careers there, and so that's why we feel like it's our time. We feel like we've got everything in place. Obviously, things got to come together, and we've got to stay healthy, and we got to come together as a football team. With all that being said, our expectations are high, very high this year.
Coach, you talked about just a second ago about leading in the fourth quarter in 3 ball games, I think, and tied in 4th in another ball game. And last year they contributed a lot of that to being young and inexperienced, and even this year they're saying the Murals are kind of young and inexperienced. So how do you counter, getting that fourth quarter win, I guess?
Well, I think a lot of it had to do with our ability and talent levels on the defensive side of the football. We were limited a little bit on that side of the football last year, and I do think we're a much more talented football team on that side. I mean, to win close games in the fourth quarter, you got to be good on defense. It comes down to defense. I mean, early in the year, we lost to Southwest Oklahoma with an 11-point lead with 9 minutes to go in the game. We had a 21-0 lead on East Central over there on the road, and ended up losing a high-scoring football game. And at that point in time of the season, SAU was playing his first games, and I mean, we had 2 really key turnovers in the fourth quarter against East Central that cost us that football game over there. So, he was a senior quarterback, and he led the league in total offense last year, but it was his first year to start. So, some of those things caught up with us a little bit at times, but I think the biggest issue we had last year with our football team obviously was we weren't good enough on defense. Just bottom line to it, and we led the league in total offense, 504 yards a game, 38 points a game. We got to win more than 5 doing that, So we think we have addressed those issues on the defensive side of the football. Really do.
You're going to have some turnovers. I mean, that's
football.
That's going to happen. But is the defense, that much
Defense
improved? They
I
can
mean,
turn it back around.
Defense has got to have that fireman mentality. I mean, the fireman mentality, when the alarm goes off, they don't ask, is it a high rise, is it a brush fire, what is it? They just get on the truck and go and put it out. And that's what our defense has got to have, that mentality, that fireman mentality. When the alarm sounds, we're going to run out there, we're going to stop it. We're going to put the fire out right there. I don't care where it is. I don't care if it's plus in possession. I don't care if they're on the other side of the field. It doesn't matter. We're going to go stop them. We're going to put the fire out. We're going to get the ball back to the offense. And, that's the kind of mentality we'd like our defense to have. And, that all comes with, obviously talent. It also comes with, your maturity and your togetherness as a defensive unit that you can run out on that field and as a group, we got you, Coach. We can stop these guys. And they get it done. And that's something that we lacked last year. Really did.
Is the offense good enough to match what they did last year?
It's going to be interesting. It really is. I mean, I know coming out of our first practice out there today, I was just walking around with a big smile on my face watching our 2 quarterbacks. They are talented. And so we got a good battle there. Good battle. They both probably will play this year, which is a little bit unusual. DeAndre back in shape, looks good. Mike Nunnerly looks good. We've got some other running backs on the team. We got one that just got here today. That is going to be fun to find out a little bit more about him and what he can do for our football team. But with what we got up front in the offensive line, if I'm a running back, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good what I'm running behind. I mean, I don't think anybody should have an offensive line of scrimmage any better than what we have in the league. I mean, we were sitting there with a bunch of veterans that are good players, and so that should help our quarterback a little bit also. We had 4 of the 5 coming back from last year. Greenidge is back, who was out last year, and then with AJ Ray being eligible to play this year, that's another nice addition. Kobe Geeson is really finally coming into his own as a football player, really doing some nice things. Big physical kid. We're about 8 to 9 deep on the offensive line, and that's hard to do at this level. It really is. So, you never know if you can put up the same numbers, but we've got the firepower to do it. Just got to go out and get it done.
Dominic, and Coach mentioned defense, he talked defense a second ago, but talk a little bit about what you think your role needs to be on this team this season and how the defense can improve.
I say I just got to step up as a leader, because last year did nobody lead as a, as a group leader. They just led as a self-leader, Just thinking doing good by yourself, not good. You got to do good by your teammates. You got to make sure your teammates in the right spot, make sure they're on the right assignment, So by me knowing what they doing and what I have to do, I can also help the man next to me. So it's just a step ahead of everybody. That's how I try to play, a step ahead on the next level.
How beneficial was it for you, Dominic, to be here last year, serving in that redshirt role to kind of get familiar with the defense to where you're stepping in as a junior, but you've been here a year?
It's pretty good. I'm glad Coach kept me, because I don't know where I'd be at right now, but it's good because I really know all the plays, like all the schemes Coach Lawson can draw up. I can play out there anywhere. I can play middle, outside, nickel if he need me to. So I'm pretty good with the defense. It just gave me time to learn everything I needed to learn. So now I just got to get my tools and everything else right, my fundamentals down.
And John, one question for you. Obviously, when you take a look at the roster, there's a lot of redshirt freshmen, and sophomore, a lot of underclassmen. You're one of the few seniors, 9 or 10, that are on this team, but also on the offensive line, one of the positions that brings back a lot of experience. How are you guys carrying yourselves, maybe mentally coming into camp, and how do you see it going throughout the year?
I see just the seniors that are on the offensive line coming in as leaders and making sure keeping everyone accountable, especially on the offensive line and the whole offense in general, and just bringing an attitude every day to work hard and just bring your best. And we've got enough talent that if you do that, it'll all come together.
And how important do you think the continuity of the offensive line is for this year, knowing that it is a young team? Do you guys kind of see yourselves as maybe the more or less the backbone of the team, at least initially, until they get their feet under them?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it takes time. I came in as a freshman, redshirted. I had to wait my time for it, and so did everyone else. It's just takes time to learn everything and get everything going the way it needs to be.
How different is it for you? This is 3 years, 3 different quarterbacks. Does that make a difference in your assignment?
It doesn't make a whole lot of a difference for me. I haven't really, the only thing different is hearing a different voice back there. It's about the only thing about the only difference for me.
His job doesn't change. His job doesn't change. The offensive line's job doesn't change. The only thing it's going to change is the way we call plays, because each one of them, from Tyler to Cy to whether it's Omari or whether it's Barrett, makes you call plays a different way, because they each bring different talents to the table. We knew we couldn't run the ball with Tyler, never did. We knew we could run the ball with Cy, we did. They both could throw the ball, great. Each one of these guys we have this year can throw and they can run, and they're going to bring a whole different attack to how we call things, because of what they do and the skill sets they bring to the field.
Coach Keopple, and still on quarterbacks, and I think I kind of looked through the league and it seemed like, with the exception of maybe one team or maybe two, everyone's saying they're in a quarterback battle.
Yeah.
If somebody's trying to get somebody to stand up, but that kind of put everybody pretty much on more of an equal playing field in a sense.
Well, yeah, it definitely will. It definitely will. You take the quarterback at Henderson State out of the equation. You take the quarterback at Harding, the quarterback at Washita last year. Those guys out, they were a cut above. They were very, very talented. Of course, we were lucky. Cy was very talented, and that's why we did as well as we did, to have a guy of that caliber. Where they were better than us, they were better than us on the defensive side of the football. And the fact that those quarterbacks are gone now, everybody is trying to find the next guy. It definitely makes it a lot more level playing field, and the fact that we feel like we're going to be able to put a defense on the football team on the field that will be every bit, if not better, than what we had on the field in 2012 here, which was one of the best defenses in the league at the time.
Again, let's talk about the Great American Conference. For the second year in a row, you get a chance to start out with a conference game. And let me ask you, I know you don't have any control over some of that stuff, playing non-conference. Would you rather get a non-conference game here or there at the start of the season, then get into conference play, or?
Obviously every college coach, that's the tough thing at coaching at our level. And the way our league is set up, we're playing 11 conference games. You do that in the SEC, and that would not be good. Those guys at that level, they're going to be able to schedule 4 non-conference games. 3 of them are going to be just, if we show up, we're going to win, and everybody's going to get a play tonight, and they may schedule 1 tough one out of that. So that's a big difference. I would love to be able to go out and find me 3 lesser teams out there somewhere that we could get us some automatic wins like that. Obviously, it makes your record look better, but when you really break it down, and that's, as a coach, you look at it that way. How coaches are doing, you look at their conference record. So Yeah, that would be nice, but we don't get that luxury in our league, which, you know, in Division II, it's hard to come up with non-conference games. I mean, it's gonna require a lot of travel. You know, at times, your administration may want you to play up, like we did my second year here when we played Texas State, the SES team, and we played them a very close, tough game, but what people don't understand is that they've got a lot more guys out there on scholarship, and that night we got 3 offensive linemen hurt for the next 5 weeks, and that snowballed on us. So, you know, I'm glad we don't have to do that. And after that year, our administration said, you don't have to go there no more, coach. I mean, so that's been very good for us. And but our league's good. Our league's very balanced. Obviously, we're excited we get to play at home and don't have to make the road trip to start the season off and until week 2. You know, we go to Alva, which is going to be a tough one. I mean, it really is. New coach, new atmosphere, new press box, new turf. They're going to be fired up when we go up there. So you got to be ready to play every week. And if you're not, someone in this league can jump up and beat you before you know it.
I guess one good thing about it, everybody's playing the same schedule basically, so nobody has any advantage.
That's the beauty of it. You know, it's not, you know, people have asked, well, why don't you go to an East-West and then play a few crossover games, you know, and then you could add in a couple non-conference. Well, you know, okay, I mean, that sounds good until you're that team that has to play the 2 best teams in the crossover, and somebody else over here has to play the 2 worst. I mean, it never works out. It never works out right. It doesn't even work out in the big conferences that way very well. You know, there's always going to be that argument on crossover games. You're getting to play a tough, easy one, and we're having to play the hard one, and you're winning the league. I mean, so that's always an issue. I like how we have it set up in football right now. Hopefully we can keep it like this with 12 teams and play 11 conference games and play for some postseason play. And you know, so. I think our league's going to be in a stable position now to be able to get 2 teams in the playoffs, and we are set up with a bowl game in Texarkana, which is really nice and well ran over there, and we have been set up with another one down in Texas. So there's a possibility of 4 teams in our league getting postseason play. That's great for us.
What about, you mentioned, you know, the 12 teams, so 11 games, taking away the bye week, having to play 11 games. Does that change your team, your coaching staff's approach throughout the year, knowing that you don't have that bye week to maybe look forward to get healthy in some regards, or, you know, maybe catch your breath, knowing that you're going to have to pretty much go the distance?
But it's nice to have a bye week. It really is, Daniel. I tell you, from a coaching standpoint, you understand it, that you're going to go and you're going to play 11 weeks. It's probably harder for the players to understand, why are we playing 2 deep? Why am I not getting as many carries? Why am I, you know, more substitution going on. You got to do a better job recruiting. You got to get more depth on your football team because over the course of the year, guys are going to get banged up and, you know, may get a concussion and you're out. They're going to take your helmet away for 7 days, so you're not going to play next week. And so there's a lot of things that can happen along the way, and it's probably a little harder for some players to accept that, well, am I not getting to play more than I am, you know, and even though they may be the starter. And that's the thing, they're going to have to be educated on that, especially running backs, for sure. I mean, you've got to have some depth there because you're liable to run through 4 or 5 of them in a year's time if you can keep them all well. I mean, I just reflect back about 3 years ago going to Washington, we lost 2 in 2 consecutive series to knee injuries, gone. So you never know. And so that's why you're trying to develop as much depth as you possibly can on your football team. That's why right now I feel very good about our team because I do think we're a very talented team deep. Now we are young, and but you know, everybody's playing with some young guys.
John, you've been around a while. Is there any team that you just dread lining up against?
I wouldn't say there's any I dread. You know, there's some I don't care for too much, but so we won't talk a whole lot about that.
But John, personally and team-wise, and I probably can think about it in my head, how would you like for this season to play out? I mean, personally for John Miller, offensive lineman, what do you want to do? And team-wise, what do you want this team to come November would have done?
Well, the ultimate goal is always a conference championship. I've been here, I've been so close. The last 3 years I've played, and it's just time for us now.
Dominic, you feel the same way?
Yes, sir. I have a ring from JUCO, so I know the feeling. So I would love to feel the feeling with these guys, because there's some great men in this room. You know what I'm saying? So play with some great dudes on the team. So I would love to have another ring and win it with a university instead of a JUCO. Have a better feeling. So.
Coach Keopple, I know we hadn't mentioned kicking team because coaches don't like to talk about kicking team too much. But what are we looking at kicking wise as far as special team goes? Punt, kick.
Obviously we had Bradford Grimm's coming back as our kicker, and he really ended last year as a true freshman, ended the year out really strong. What he kicked 4 against Henderson State over there, and I think he was surprised. He gained a lot of confidence from it, and he's worked hard in the off season. Yeah, he still looks skinny and he still looks weak, but he's come a long way from where he was. So I'm really excited about that we have that in place. I feel good about our holder that we have that's going to replace David Bell in that aspect, and that'll be Jared Brown. He does a really nice job with it. We've got probably the biggest issue we have in our kicking game right now is just our deep snapper. Obviously, we lost a really good one last year in Jacob Pumphrey, and wish he had another year, but he doesn't. So, that's probably the biggest, scariest thing that we have right now. We've got a punter, Jordan White, we recruited out of Benton, Louisiana. Obviously, Tanner Hudson, you can go in there and punt for us at any point in time. And we have others here that are coming and trying to earn themselves a spot in one of those positions. But right now, Grimm's has a very strong hold on kickoff and PAT, field goal, and in our punting situation, I really feel pretty good about it right now. When we recruited Tanner Hudson, and talking to his high school coach thought he was a Division I punter all the way, and he could probably be that, except he's playing tight end and wide receiver for us. So, he just totally went to that, but we don't want him to do that. So, anyhow, I feel pretty good about that. We're going to have good cover teams because we got a lot of depth on the defensive side of the football. That's a positive thing. We got a lot of guys that can run. That's very positive. You feel good, and you can put your head on the pillow at night that Jonathan Weisheit's going to be returning punts for us, and he's automatic catching it back there, so you don't worry about that. Probably one of the things that we are going to have to do a little hunting for is who's going to return kickoffs for us. That's always kind of we've got a lot of guys that can catch a ball, carry the ball, and run with it, but that it takes a little different type of person to run back a kickoff. There's a lot of bravery involved in that, and but the one thing about that, we don't want people kicking off to us anyhow very often. So, and hopefully our defense can take care of that, and if they get a kickoff one time a game would be nice, and we're doing all the kicking off. So, my first boss always told me, hey Bill, if you're working on kickoff return very much, it don't matter. So don't spend a lot of time on it, and that's kind of the approach we're going to take. We're going to find there's going to be some guys that can do that job for us. So.
Did John Miller catch a touchdown pass?
Well, John Miller has been an asset to our program. Ever since he's been here. He played at DeQueen, and I got a phone call from Sam Goodwin. Just out of the blue, Sam Goodwin was my high school coach, and he ended up being John's high school coach. And he told me, Bill, I got a guy over here who's going to be a really good college football player, with a little help, a little push. And John came in here weighing about 350, maybe on the light side, right? Now you weigh about 290. Guy went to work in a year, and he got himself right and ready to play. He's been a great asset to our program. Guy's going to graduate out of here and headed into the engineering profession, one form or another, right? Mm-hmm. So obviously proud about that. Guys carrying over a 3.8 GPA. So those are the kind of guys we like in our program. Not everybody's going to be a 3.8 GPA, but I'm looking for good people in our program. And I feel like that's one thing we really have got in our program right now. This guy right over here, I don't know that I've been around a guy, we haven't had one here at Southern Arkansas, I can tell you that, in the 6 years I've been here, that's a better leader. I mean, when he speaks, they listen. And that's a good thing, because he's speaking the right things that they need to be hearing. And you need that, especially on the defensive side of football. You need leadership more over there than you do over on the offensive side of football. Offensive side of football, with you're putting 3 and 4 receivers on the field, and you got your running back and quarterback. You got 5 prima donnas on the field about half the time. So the old line's got to be they got to be their own entity. We're a tight group. We're doing all the hard work here, and we like each other, and we're going to do all the dirty work to take care of these guys back here, and they're going to do their thing back there anyhow. Defense is a whole different thing. I mean, you got to have a group that's really tight as a whole unit, and that you can trust each other, that you're going to get the job done, and the leadership that Dominic's going to be able to provide over there is going to be huge for us.
I think we're good. Thank you very much, Coach, and
All right.
John and
Sounds
Dominic.
good. Appreciate you guys.
All right.